Hey, how you doing? This is Mark Label here from Number Change RC, Number Change Recovery Church, located in Pendle, PA. Also known as AKA, also known as Messenger in your motorcycle community. Glad you could join me today for a Daily Inspire for the 21st of February. And we're looking at healing faith today, and we're doing a devotion straight from Life Recovery Bible. And if you have a Bible, Life Recovery Bible, it would be page 1305. So I'm reading a devotional from Life Recovery Bible, and it's based around step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So let me get into this for you. Faith is key to successfully working the second step. For some of us, faith comes easy. For others, especially if we've experienced betrayal in our lives, it may be very difficult. It's hard to trust other people. Sometimes we've exhausted our own resources trying to overcome our addictive disease before we will risk believing in a higher power. When Jesus lived on earth, he was so renowned for his healing power that crowds of sick people will constantly come up against him. They would constantly press up against him to try to get healed. He was very popular in the day for the healing part of it anyways. One day there was a woman in the crowd who had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding, and she could find no cure. She exhausted all her resources. So she comes up behind Jesus. She touches the fringe. We know the story. She changes the fringe of the robe. Immediately, the bleeding stopped, and Jesus turns around there and realized that someone had deliberately touched her because he felt healing power go out from him. And so he turns around and says, "Who touched me, lady? Who touched me?" And so when the woman confessed that she was the one who had been healed, Jesus said, "Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Of course, that's Luke chapter 8, verse 43 through 44, and verse 48. In order to recover, we must follow the example of the woman. We cannot afford to stand back, hoping for cures and avoid deliberate action because of our lack of faith. So we need to use whatever faith we have and activate it by action. It might be small. Use faith plus action. This is what this woman did here. When we came to believe in a God, when we came to believe in God, a power greater than ourselves, and have the faith to take hold of our own recovery, we will find the healing power we have been looking for. So I'm going to look a little deeper dive into the text today. Luke chapter 8, verse 43 through 48. Again, here's the story in its completion. A woman in a crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She found no cure. Coming up behind Jesus, she touched the fringe of his robe. Immediately, the bleeding stopped. Then verse 45, he says, "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. Everyone denied it, and Peter said, "Master, the whole crowd is pressing up against you." Okay, obviously, somebody might bang into you or whatever, right? But Jesus turned and said, "Someone deliberately touched me, for I felt healing power go out from me." So when a woman realized that she could not stay hidden, which you can't hide from God, the whole crowd heard her explain why she had touched him, and she had been immediately healed. "Daughter," he said to her, "your faith has made you well. Go in peace." In this historical account, we see many people following Jesus. They heard of the miracle, and now they want to see the person who performed it. The scene is more like a crowd of people wanting to get a glimpse. It might be like a cloud of people just wanting to get a glimpse, or get lucky and maybe talk to the celebrity. All right, almost like a celebrity status. Rush to the star to get past the security guards just to touch the star, just to be with him. If it was a modern day time, you might want to, hey, can I get a selfie with Jesus type of thing. There's people like that, right? And there are people there really genuinely in that same crowd that believed Jesus was the Son, he was the healer, that he could heal them. All right? But this woman, she was fragile and weak from her sickness, pushed through this crowd, pushing, shoving, and wrangling her way towards Jesus, reaching out with every bit of desperation, just trying to barely touch the hem of his garment. barely touching the hem of the garment. One, because she was shamed. She was shameful. She didn't want to draw attention to herself. She knew that, hey, if I at least touch the hem of his this I believe my faith is shallow, but it's enough there to believe that if I only get to touch him, even if it's the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. And on top of that, she didn't want to bring attention to herself because of the shame of her condition, of her disease. All right, and so many times we could feel that way in recovery. We could feel that way, whatever we're going through. Maybe it's not recovery. Maybe it's anxiety. It's depression. It's some kind of mental condition, and we're just ashamed to bring it into the light. And she was ashamed about her condition of bleeding for 12 years. But in desperation, she reached out. Jesus turns to her and speaks through the noise and through the activity. The divine creator speaks to her, and he turns and says that the comfort and the healer, this comfort and healer connected with a woman of sorrow, a person of desperation. No judgment, no scorn, no lecture. He turns around and says to her, "Daughter," he said to her, "your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Go in peace. Healing faith is active faith, as we could see in this, that action is the most important step in our recovery for whatever we're trying to recover from. We need to be active in our faith, not only believe, but put it into action. Step out and move in a certain direction in faith. Maybe you don't see everything in front of you. Maybe you don't see every step, but move and see. If you see that one step, put that foot on that one step and keep moving. Activate your faith through action. That's what this woman said. She did physically. James chapter 2 verse 26 says this: just as the body is dead without breath, so also faith is dead without good works. So she put it into action. She pressed through 12 years, and finally now, getting to the end of herself, she acts. And sometimes God will allow the walls to close in on us, to move us towards us. He'll box us in and say, "Come on now, messenger, get moving, man. Come on, let's go." We start activating that faith. I know you love me. I know you trust in me, but you're praying, and you should be praying. But apply prayer, action, and faith in action. You're going to see results. He'll show up every time. So we see that in Luke chapter 8, verse 46, but Jesus said, "Someone deliberately touched me, for I felt healing power go from me." So when the woman realized she could not stay hidden, she began to tremble and fell to her knees in front of him. Active faith. She was active in her faith, but yet she pushed through. According to the Jewish law, a woman who was menstruating or bleeding was considered unclean or impure. If a man was to touch her, it would make him unclean. And many men would avoid talking with a woman, just not even talk with this woman, just so he didn't have a chance of being stamped unclean. He wanted to keep his reputation. So when they touched the man, Jesus, she performed a great wrong. She was now exposed, and she trembled with fear and fell to her knees in a posture of submission and asking for mercy. She could have slipped off unnoticed, but she didn't. She could have been like the crowd, just passerbys, the casual Jesus followers, the casual person that say, "Yeah, I believe in Jesus, but I'm going to do this thing on my own." But she did not. She took a chance. She took a risk. She sought after Jesus, no matter the consequences, and it paid off. All right, we need to, sometimes our faithless action needs, we need to push, the action part needs to be pushed through that shame. So what are we ashamed of? Are we willing to turn all our dirt and our baggage over to Jesus? Are we willing to hold something? Are we holding something back? Are things too dirty for Jesus to handle? Do we think we need to get it cleaned up yet first? No, we do not. Come to Jesus the way we are. All right, too much shame to even go there? No, too much hurt? Nope. Go. Faith plus works. Put it together. Reach out to Jesus, man. He'll turn around and he'll say to you, your faith has made you made you whole. Number 2, healing faith is give it all to him. Give it all to him, faith. All right, give it all. Healing faith is give it all to him in faith. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding, and she could find no cure. So here it was in Luke chapter 8, verse 43, man. She gave it all to him. She said, that's it. I'm laying it all on the line. This is it. I'm laying it all down. It's either you, Jesus, or nothing else. That's what we need to do. Healing faith is being at peace faith. We'll have peace when we activate that faith. There'll be peace in our lives. Hallelujah. You want some peace? Yes, you do. I know you do. So do I. All right. It says in Luke chapter 8, verse 48, daughter, he said to her, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. He didn't turn around and chastise her. He didn't turn around and blame her. He didn't turn around and judge her. He turned around and daughter, your faith has made you well. Has made you well. Go in peace. And the peace is go in peace means to go in quietness, in rest, no stress, no anxiety, no fear, soft breathing, a gentle spring air, comfort to our soul, man. When we have healing faith, it brings rest and quietness to our soul. That in itself, man, what a great byproduct, right? God listens to us and brings healing to our lives, all right? And he restores us and he brings that peace. This is how we know that our faith has been activated by that peace. Healing faith is never give up faith. It's never gives up. In Luke chapter 8, verse 44 says this, coming up behind Jesus, she touched the fringe of his robe and immediately the bleeding stopped. Immediately it happened. She didn't give up. She pressed through the crowd. She got there, man. She did her attention. She was intentional. She was purposeful. She says, yeah, this is it, man. I'm laying it on the line. I'm not giving up. It's Jesus. So he came behind Jesus. And even from the side view, from even touching that act alone. I mean, I believe in just the touch of the robe. We're talking clothing here. She just touched the clothing, and he knew that someone was desperate need for him. He knew it wasn't just something that was nothing slips by God, nothing slips by Jesus. Okay, he touched the hem of somebody's clothing. He shouldn't even feel something like that. But Jesus knows. He knows. Never give up. Never give up faith. So faith is healing faith. What's this faith look like, all right? Healing faith is active faith. Number one, active faith. Healing faith gives it all to him faith. Healing faith is being at peace faith. And then healing faith never gives up. Closing this one verse, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Faith is the confidence of what we hope for will actually happen. Number two, step two, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves restore us to sanity. Believing in a higher power, man. Believing in Jesus Christ, that's the higher power, man. Activating our faith, okay? Keeping it real for the Holy Father. That's what it's all about. It says healing faith requires a few steps on our part. 10% of us, maybe not even 10% of us. But, man, Jesus will pick up the rest of the load, man. Love you guys. See ya. Hope you enjoyed this. Share this with your friends, man. Share this with your family. Share this with, bless somebody else with this teaching. I know it's not the best. I get it, man. I'm not the best speaker in the world, man. I get it, man. I stumble over my tongue. I was about to say I stumble over my toe. But, Lord, guys, may Lord get the glory and the praise for all this, Lord, that he can come into our lives, Lord. He comes in my life and he can change us. So you guys be blessed. I'll see you next time. Over and out.